Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin has chosen his place in history. I think that's clear. Number two, I'm gratified that the West seems to be united. We're united primarily because of the leadership of President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people. When you see teachers making Molotov cocktails to defend their country, that's a lesson in patriotism. Number three, as we all know, we, meaning America and the West, had planned to pivot to East Asia and to Russia aggression, or rather Chinese aggression in the Indo-Pacific. The whole world knew that. We're now going to have to fight on two fronts. In Central and Eastern Europe and in Eastern Asia. I don't think that's a coincidence. If you think that Russia and China are not aligned, you'll never own your own home. Point four, there's one thing I don't get. We're all in agreement that we need to kick Putin and Russia out of the international community. And the West is in agreement that we need to kick Putin and Russia out of the international marketplace. How do you do that without attacking his oil? How do you do that without attacking his natural gas? As I read the president's sanctions, he hasn't sanctioned all Russian banks, and he hasn't thrown all Russian banks out of SWIFT. And why has he not done that? Because he wants to continue to allow Putin to sell his oil and natural gas. Now, that is the oil and natural gas and the cash flow from it. You can't fight a war without money. Is Putin's soft underbelly. But it's also the West's soft underbelly. I think that both Putin and Xi are taking advantage of the West's, including but not limited to the United States, frontal assault on oil and gas. If Europe stops purchasing oil and gas from Russia tomorrow, which is the only way you're going to cut off his cash flow, then there's going to be a deficit, and America's got to fill it. And we can't do that as long as the Biden administration is shutting down drilling in the Gulf, shutting down drilling in Anwar, refusing to open the Keystone Pipeline, instructs FERC to hang all over the backs of every pipeline company in America, and I could go on and on and on. So we can't have it both ways. And that's the issue that the president needs to address straight up with the American people. How are we going to win this struggle with Russia without attacking the oil and gas? Final point, I know Americans are really tired of foreign entanglement, but we got to respond to this threat. Because if we don't, we're going to wake up and we're going to see Russia dominant in Central and Eastern Europe. We're going to see Iran dominant in the Middle East, and we're going to see China dominant in East Asia. And it's not going to be a safe place for America. I think Senator Hoeven answered your question, but what I want to do is encourage you to look at this problem longer term and from 35,000 feet. Name two countries who don't give a damn about reducing CO2 emissions. Russia and China. Name other people and parts of the world that do care about reducing CO2 emissions. The West, Europe, the United States of America. John Kennedy. I care. The reduction of CO2 emissions is an important policy. So is national security. And what Russia and China have done here They have taken advantage of the effort to reduce CO2 emissions, which to the Biden administration means a frontal assault on oil and gas. It's so clear what's happening. And they're working together. This isn't just about Ukraine. It's about the East China Sea and the South China Sea and Taiwan and Africa. It's so clear. And the president needs to hit this head on. How are we going to win this? How are we going to make Putin a pariah? How are we going to kick him out of the international community, kick him out of the international marketplace if you don't attack his oil and gas? And it's not going away, folks. And point two, I need you to ask my friend Secretary Yellen a question. We just gave Putin $18 billion in special drawing rights. Secretary Yellen said, oh, we've got to issue these special drawing rights. Make the IMF do it, these gift cards. She didn't bother to and why? To help the poor countries buy vaccines. She didn't bother to explain that most of these gift cards, these special drawing rights, are going to the wealthiest countries. The small countries get the little end of nothing. And she just handed Vladimir Putin $18 billion. And we didn't hear a word from her. And we didn't hear a word from the MF. You couldn't have found them with a search party. You couldn't have found them with Google. They just turned the money over. I'd be a little curious about that.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.